welcome back to my channel. This is Linda, and I'm a healer, a coach, and a facilitator. And in this channel, we talk about emotional intelligence and practical spirituality concepts and how you can use them on your day-to-day to create a more fulfilling, meaningful, and joyful life. Today, we are going to be doing another reading. For the last, maybe 3 or 4 months, I've been doing these once a month. And maybe I'm gonna switch it up a little bit today. For those of you who are not very familiar with me, this is not generally the subject matter of this of these videos or of this channel, but I've been doing this for a few months just as a way to maybe provide a little bit of additional guidance to people in these most uncertain times. So a few housekeeping things that I want to mention real quick. These are, as you see here, I have a bunch of decks here. I have the traditional tarot card decks, and then these are oracle cards. So basically the way that I do the readings is I will normally tell you what the traditional meaning of the tarot cards is or are, but then I also will give you these are more intuitive readings, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I will give you my intuitive read, and that has a lot to do with the cards that come up, but also sometimes the sequence that comes up and what I pick up from the images in the cards. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I do these videos in English and Spanish, so you will see quite a few cuts just because I go back and forth so I don't forget what the cards say, because I like to try and keep them as close as possible, or the meaning of the cards as close as possible, so it's a little bit easier for me if I cut back and forth. And I usually don't shuffle on camera. I may do that maybe today or in one of the next readings because it may be a little bit easier for me to do it, but I tend not to for a variety of reasons. One of them is that I am not great at shuffling, so I don't think you need to see that. But in any case, so like I said, the topic of today is going to be what you need to know and what you need to focus on right now in these times. The other thing that I want to mention, the other real quick housekeeping thing, is that these readings are meant to be, I don't know that timeless is the right word, but the information that I get from this reading comes from higher dimensions. The third dimension, or 3D, being the world that we live in right now, our current physical world on planet Earth. And higher dimensions, fifth and above, is where a lot of these information comes from. Usually this type of information comes more from the fifth dimension, but sometimes things come through from higher dimensions. So all that to say that the only dimension that really concerns itself with space and time is the third and fourth dimension, which are the ones that we are in right now. So any dimensions from 5 and up the concept of time and space does not exist, and therefore these readings are timeless. I think I should have stopped there. It's just not the most appropriate word, but it's the word that I'm going to use for now. So even though I am doing this particular reading in, I think we're getting closer to late August 2020. God, time does fly. In any case, August 2020, it is basically, this reading is for you whenever you reach it, right? So it doesn't matter when you see it. If it feels like it resonates, then it is meant for you at the time you see it. So with that, let's get into the reading. So the first question is, what do you need to know right now? And I pulled the oracle cards. I forget what these are called. I think they're the vibration cards. I think that's what they're called. I forget. But anyways, what it is that you need to know right now. And the card that I got, I hope you can see this here, is, I don't know. Can you see it? I don't know if it's focusing really well because of the lighting, but it's Speak from the Heart. And I'm going to read what the description is, or what the information is specifically about the card from the book. But obviously, I think initially, I think anybody would be pick up this meaning. And what I'm getting immediately is that it is important. What we need to know is that we need to speak from the heart. We really need to work during these times in particular, but anytime you're watching this video, that we really need to focus on going within and really connecting to our hearts, to ourselves, to really understand what our desires are, what our hurts are. Just really, really connect to the deep truth in our heart and speak it. And when I say speak it, I actively mean say it to others. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be with voice. It could be in writing, etc. But it needs to be expressed. It's not just about the fact of connecting to it, but it's about expressing it in whatever medium is best for you. Now, the one thing that that's coming through here for me is, and I don't know, it's something about the way that the shape, I don't know how well you can see that, but something about the way this is shaped here, that it feels to me that it's not necessarily, well, it could be two different meanings. It could be that you need to get in touch with what is in your heart and be able to speak that truth of your soul, of your heart, or that you need to know that someone actually needs to do that and may be planning or preparing to do that with you. Now, I know a lot of people that watch these readings usually do it regarding romantic relationships. Any readings that I do, unless I specifically identify them as, romantic relationships, I usually mean any type of relationships, and I usually tend to clarify that during the message. So in this particular case, I am talking about any type of relationship. It doesn't even have to be someone that is in a relationship with you, be it family, romantic, or otherwise. It does feel more, it could be either meaning that you need to connect with what's deep in your soul and your heart and express it, or that someone else needs to do that and is actually planning on doing that. But what's coming stronger for me is the latter, is that someone is actually needs to do that and express from the heart, truly from the heart and from the soul to you. So that's the meaning of this card. So that's the answer to the question, what do you need to know? Okay, and I am now reading what's in the book for this particular card, which is, if you have drawn this card upright, you need to communicate your personal truth to someone. Imagine your heart as a separate being that lives inside you. What does your heart feel like? Does your heart feel appreciated and loved, or does it feel ignored or undervalued? And ask your heart, what do you have to tell me? You will receive the answers on an intuitive level. When we speak from the heart, we speak from the core of ourselves. Speaking from the heart allows for much deeper conversation. Your job now is to communicate those truths to the other person. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, so it's pretty much exactly what we talked about, with the only distinction that in the book it talks about you specifically speaking from the heart. And one of the things that I'm picking up pretty strongly is, I don't know why, there's something, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's something about these here that feels like a comet, some of the shape and the movement of the card in it. That's why it feels that it's more directed at you, that somebody else is actually needs to speak from the heart to you. Now, regarding the questions, the second question that I ask is, what do you need to focus on right now? And the card that we got is the Star. Now, there's a lot of different meanings for this card. The particular traditional meaning of the Star card in the tarot is, hope, faith, purpose, meditation, connection, etc. Now, I normally see, and I think probably a lot of people would see, when they see this card, the first thing that we think about, or that I personally think about, is wishing upon a star. That happens to me. This is not specific to just this reading. Generally, when I see this card, that's what really comes to mind. It's just wishing upon a star, and this idea that your dreams are to come true, that your wishes are can come true, true, true. Now, the thing about this, the question that we asked again was, what do you need to focus on right now? And what I'm getting really loud and clear from this is that you really need to focus on creating what you want for yourself, on realizing or remembering really that you are the creator of your own destiny, and that you can, and I've said this actually on several readings, it keeps coming up, and I think it's just really significant because of the times that we're living in right now, but that you can create the life that you want, that you can create the life that you dream of, what you desire, what you really truly desire in your heart. And this actually connects back from you, because I think to this card, because when we're talking about speaking from the heart, we were talking about speaking from the heart to someone else, but there is also truth here, and you could interpret it a little bit different if you start connecting all of these, that you may even need to speak from the heart to yourself, meaning that you really need to go into your heart deeply to really know and understand and become clear about what your desires are, so that you can actually create them and bring them to life. The other thing that is coming true here is, if you can see, I'm hoping that this is coming. There's just, I think the lighting makes it hard because some of the cards are a little shiny. But this woman that is standing right here is pouring water, is pouring some water into this pond or whatever this is, but it's also pouring water into the ground. And what is coming true for me is that the effort that you put in to create this world, to create this vision that you have, this dream, to create your own destiny, to make your wishes and your dreams come true, has to be an effort that is balanced and that is in balance with nature. Yeah, that is balanced, that is in balance with nature, and that it has to be grounded. It has to be grounded and centered on into this world. One of the ways you can ensure that what you're trying to manifest, that what you're trying to create in this world, that the wishes you want to bring into life are in fact connected and grounded and in alignment and in your truth, are your true desires from your heart and integrity with your truth, is the way that you can do that is through spiritual growth, is through meditation and through other different development, personal development tools, personal development skills, and more importantly than anything, with that deep connection with yourself. Now, the second card that I pulled up was a clarifier card for this. So if it's just to clarify this message, and the clarifying card that I pulled up was the Empress. Now, the Empress is a card, and actually, by the way, these are both major arcana cards, which is actually pretty significant. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with tarot, but generally, major arcana cards tend to have to do with things that are outside of our control. I think in more in the olden days, it used to be believed, or actually a lot of people still believe this, that major arcana, which are like these cards that have like words and not necessarily a number and a what do you call it, like spade or whatever, I forget, a suit. These ones that have words are considered major arcana, and these have to do with things that are completely outside of our control, and as I was saying before, are believed to be destined. Cards that talk about destiny and forces, energetic forces, spiritual forces completely outside of our control. It is pretty significant when you do a reading and you get multiple major arcanas, because that signifies that there is something bigger happening, right? That is something that goes beyond the scope of just yourself. Now, like I've said in many videos, I believe that we create our own destiny. So I don't necessarily believe, I'm not entirely on board with the idea of destiny is something that we cannot control. However, what it is true is that there are a lot of things that are outside of our control, right? How other people behave, the choices that other people make, other people meaning individuals as well as corporations or governments, etc. So there's a lot of things that are outside of our control, and my main interpretation of major arcana is that it's just that idea that there are things that are happening that are outside of our control. So it is significant because this is actually really reflective of the times that we are living in right now as I'm recording this video. Again, this is meant to be a timeless reading, and I'm sure that when you see it, there's going to be something out of your control that is happening, because that is always true. But I just wanted to mention that because it is significant, especially in the times that we are living in right now. And like I was saying before, the Empress, sorry, not the High Priestess, the Empress is about really nature and abundance and pleasure and contentment. And actually, I just saw that the card here says nature, but that's really what the Empress represents. If you look at it here, there's actually a lot of nature around it. There's also water as well, which is significant because it talks, water represents emotions. You'll see water running here. You also see water, a lot of water here, which is interesting, and actually here too, which is interesting that there's so much water, because it talks about speaking from the heart, which is again emotion. So that's the connection. And actually this here, that's what that looked like before. I was trying to figure out what it was, and it is that it has some of some of the ripples here look a little bit like water. I don't know if you can see that very well, but in any case, it is again talking about emotions, talking about making your dreams come true, creating the life that you dream of, manifesting what you want in this world, but doing it in a way that is balanced. And there's a lot of nature here, so there is doing it in a way that is balanced, in a way that is in alignment with your true desires and what is deep within your heart. And I think another thing that another meaning that I usually take from the Empress in particular is the sense of balance, right? Because this talks about the Empress. The traditional meaning of the Empress has a lot to do with beauty and abundance and nature and nurturing and giving. So the next question that I asked was, what is the shadow aspect, meaning what we are not seeing, what we need to look at, the subconscious motivations or subconscious aspects that may challenge this, that may create difficulty for us to do this, for us to create, to follow what we need to focus on based on what the cards are saying. And what I got is card number 4, and I don't know what that is, so I need to go look it up, because these are oracle cards, so the meanings are very different. And I have here now, actually right there, number 4, and interesting. Your motives. Okay. If you are drawn to this sigil, you are not aware of your true motives in the situation at hand. In order to avoid consequences of this blind spot, you are going to have to be brutally honest with yourself about your actual intentions and motives and desires in this situation. So there's a lot more to read, but I don't want this video to be very long. So the truth is that it's in perfect alignment with these things, with what we're seeing in the rest of the cards, right? Because what it's saying here is that we need to understand the motives that we have for actually trying to create or manifest our desired life. The motives that we have for wishing, for having this dream, for having these wishes, for trying to create this in our lives. And the easiest way to do that is again, go back to the first card that we got, you know, what we need to know, which is we need to speak from the heart. We need to take the time to meditate, right? To connect to the earth, to ground, to connect to nature, to balance, so that we can actually get in touch with the essence of our soul, with what is truly in our heart, what our deep true desires are, so that we can manifest them and create what we want in this world. Now, this is actually also reminding me of another video that I did. This was, I don't know, whatever, a few months ago. It is on my YouTube channel if you're interested. I don't remember. I think it's called What You Want to Create, and it's like a 3-minute video. It was for some Facebook Lives that I was doing at the beginning of the current circumstances. And it's a very short video, but I was talking about what you want to create in your life and to get in touch with what that is. So if you're interested, you can go, I'll actually try and link it in this video if I remember, but if you're interested, you can go and look that up. And then the last card, which is the guidance for how to make this happen, right? The guidance that we need for this, and the card is nature, and it has 2 birds here. I'm hoping you can see that. Around there, that looks a little bit better. And I don't know what that is. I think it looks sort of like a, I don't know, like a pine cone or something. I don't know. Anyways, there's water here too, a lot of green, etc. I don't really have to look at the book to know, to get a sense of what that means. Obviously, I think it's just the idea or the concept of going back to nature, like we were talking about here. There's a lot of water, a lot of nature here. And nature is usually one of the best ways that you can balance. For most people, I would even dare say for everyone, getting back to nature is usually the easiest way. Not the, well, I wouldn't say necessarily the easiest way, but the most effortless way to connect with your soul. And I do understand there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't like camping. I don't like to be in nature. Nature doesn't just have to be the woods, right? It can be the ocean. It could be a lake. It could be a pond. It could be a mountain. It could be a valley. Whatever that, it could be just connecting with flowers. One of my favorite things to do is to sit in my office, which is my second bedroom at my place, and just look out my patio door at the birds. Listen to them chirping, watch them take a bird bath. Is a very simple thing, but it brings me so much joy because they are just so free and so happy to be in the water and so happy to be getting bird seeds. It just brings me a lot of joy. It just genuinely makes me happy. That's a very simple way that you can connect to nature, and birds are everywhere, let's face it. But I guess I digress. My whole point is that when we talk about nature, people usually think about, you know, going hiking in the mountains for a long hike or going camping outdoors or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Nature is everywhere, is always around us. So our emotions here are really important. And another thing that I think is really important to mention, and it's actually one of the things that I use emotions a lot in my work to deal with shadow, but to also to help people manifest the life they want to create. And I think what I wanted to mention is that it's really important, you know, like I said a few moments ago, there's a lot of water here, and water signifies emotion. And this is what is sparking for me is this idea that you can also use your emotions to create what you want to help manifest. And I don't mean just from the sense of what we were talking about earlier about connecting to your heart and connecting to your true desires, but also it can be very helpful when you want to create or manifest something in your life. You can tune into that vibration. One of the things that I use myself and recommend for some of my clients is to imagine what it is that you want to create, right? Just actually imagine it, like truly visualize it, feel it, smell it, sense it. And then, because as you do that, you create that vibration, that energetic vibration, not just in your field, but in your body. So that your body and your energetic field learn what that feels like. And that actually helps you align with that vibrational state a little bit easier, because your body, your mind, your energetic already recognize that vibration, right? Because you've imagined it before. So that actually helps a lot with manifesting. I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm not really sure if I have another video about it. I think I do. I think there's a video about manifesting in the channel. I know there is. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a video about manifesting in English and Spanish as well if you want to go look it up. But yeah, just being able to use that emotion of how you want to feel to help your vibration shift so that you can get into better alignment with what you want to create and what you want to manifest in your life. We also should remember that nature is also a great source of inspiration. Not for us to create art, but for us to also create tangible things in our world. It is an excellent source of inspiration. So you can also use that. So nature can help you connect with your true self, but also help inspire you to guide your heart to what your true desires are, so that you can create them and manifest them in this world. So with that, I hope this reading was very helpful, and until next time, namaste.